Imagine being a soldier on a wooden ship, the salty wind whipping across your face, the creak of timber beneath your feet, and the distant shouts of your comrades echoing over the waves. Suddenly you see a stream of liquid fire hurtling toward you, flames that burn even on water, defying everything you thought you knew about the sea's power to extinguish. This was no myth or legend. It was Greek fire, the Byzantine Empire's most terrifying and mysterious secret weapon, a substance so potent that it could turn the tide of entire wars. The Byzantines ingeniously mounted bronze siphons on their warships, unleashing torrents of burning liquid that clung to everything it touched and couldn't be doused with water no matter how desperately sailors tried. It was more than just a weapon. It was psychological warfare at its most effective. Enemy sailors froze in terror, paralyzed by the knowledge that the very sea beneath them could ignite in an instant. The formula for Greek fire was a closely guarded secret, entrusted only to a select few and passed down through generations, never written down for fear it might fall into enemy hands. Even today, the exact recipe remains a mystery, lost to history as the centuries passed and empires rose and fell. Greek fire was the ancient world's superweapon, turning naval battles into nightmares, giving the Byzantines a decisive edge for centuries and striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. Its legend endures because it changed the course of history, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and burned relics that still puzzle archaeologists. The quest to rediscover Greek fire is a real-life treasure hunt, drawing in historians, scientists, and adventurers who hope to unlock its secrets and perhaps recreate its fearsome power. It's a story of innovation, secrecy, and the power of fear, a testament to human ingenuity and the lengths people will go to protect their most valuable knowledge. And it all began with a fire that simply couldn't be quenched, a fire that continues to fascinate and mystify the world to this day. Greek fire's story begins in the 7th century, when the Byzantine Empire was under siege from all sides. Salvation arrived with Callinicos, a refugee chemist who brought the secret formula to Constantinople. Emperor Constantine IV saw its potential and quickly weaponized it, creating a system of pumps and siphons to unleash the liquid fire. The Byzantines called it sea fire, a divine protector, not just a weapon. The formula was guarded like a nuclear code. Revealing it meant death. Only the emperor and a select few knew the secret, ensuring Byzantine naval dominance for centuries. Greek fire became the ultimate deterrent, turning the city's greatest vulnerability, the sea, into its strongest defense. Enemy fleets that approached Constantinople faced annihilation by jets of inextinguishable flame. The message was clear: attack, and you will burn. This weapon didn't just protect the empire, it preserved its very identity. Greek fire was the shield that kept Constantinople standing. What made Greek fire so terrifying? It wasn't just a weapon, it was a force of nature unleashed by human hands. A mystery that defied the elements and struck fear into the bravest of hearts. It burned on water, turning the sea itself into a deadly trap. Imagine the horror of watching the waves ignite, the very thing you relied on for safety now betraying you. Sailors couldn't escape by jumping overboard. The flames followed them relentlessly, clinging to the surface and devouring anything in their path. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The liquid clung to ships and shields, burning with a fury that seemed almost alive. Thick, choking smoke filled the air, blinding and suffocating those who tried to fight back. The battlefield became a hellscape of fire and panic, chaos erupting as men screamed and ships splintered. The terror spread faster than the flames themselves. The delivery system was psychological warfare. Bronze siphons shaped like roaring lion heads spewed fire with a thunderous sound, terrifying enemies before the flames even hit. The sight and sound alone could shatter nerves. Water only made it worse. Sand, vinegar, or even urine were the only hope, but nearly impossible to use in the chaos of battle. Most could only watch in horror as the fire spread. Greek fire's invincibility made it seem supernatural, a divine punishment sent from the gods. Many believed it was magic or a curse no mortal could withstand. Its reputation alone broke enemy morale before a single shot was fired. The mere rumor of its presence could send entire fleets into retreat. The weapon's true power was in the fear it inspired as much as the destruction it caused. It haunted the dreams of those who survived and became the nightmare of those who faced it. No other weapon of the era could match its impact. Greek fire stood alone, a legend in its own time, unmatched in both devastation and psychological terror. Greek fire changed naval warfare forever, forcing new tactics and strategies, and leaving a legacy that would echo through the centuries. It was a spectacle of terror, designed to break the enemy's will and leave survivors with stories that would chill generations to come. The flames, the smoke, the roar, it was unforgettable, a vision of chaos that seared itself into memory. Facing Greek fire meant facing the impossible, a force that seemed to defy all reason and hope. And that's why it became legend, a weapon not just of war but of myth, forever remembered as the terror of the ancient seas. Greek fire wasn't just an offensive weapon, it was the Byzantine Empire's ultimate shield. As Arab fleets threatened Constantinople, Greek fire preserved the city and the empire itself. The Byzantine navy, armed with this secret weapon, became nearly invincible at sea. Naval superiority allowed the Byzantines to control trade, protect their coasts, and resupply their armies. Greek fire protected not just borders, but the empire's identity as the last bastion of Roman civilization and Orthodox Christianity. The libraries and scholars of Constantinople survived behind a wall of fire, preserving ancient knowledge through the Middle Ages. Only elite crews handled the weapon, and it was reserved for the most critical battles. When Greek fire was unleashed, it almost always changed the outcome. It was the empire's trump card, ensuring survival against overwhelming odds. Greek fire was the shield that kept the heart of Byzantium beating. Greek fire's legend was forged in the crucible of war during the desperate Arab sieges of Constantinople. This mysterious weapon would become the stuff of nightmares for the city's enemies, its very name whispered in fear across the Mediterranean. In 674, the mighty Umayyad Caliphate launched a relentless assault, blockading the city for years and threatening to bring the Byzantine Empire to its knees. The fate of Constantinople, and perhaps all of Europe, hung in the balance as the siege dragged on. Outnumbered and facing overwhelming odds, the Byzantines unleashed their secret weapon. Greek fire erupted across the waves in the heat of naval battles, transforming the sea into a blazing death trap for the invaders. Arab ships were consumed by flames, panic and chaos spread through their ranks, and the siege was finally broken. The defenders had turned the tide with fire. Decades later, a second, even larger Arab fleet returned, determined to succeed where the first had failed. The threat was greater than ever before. Once again, Greek fire devastated the invaders. Entire squadrons were annihilated, their ships reduced to charred wrecks, and the blockade was shattered before it could even begin. The psychological blow was immense. Survivors described the fire as lightning hurled by the Byzantines, a terror that haunted them long after the battle. Harsh winters, starvation, and relentless attacks on land compounded the disaster for the Arab armies, leaving them broken and demoralized. The city was saved, its mighty walls and secret weapon shielding Europe from a conquest that could have changed the course of history forever. These victories cemented Greek fire's legendary status, making it a symbol of Byzantine ingenuity and resilience. It wasn't just a weapon, it was the savior of Constantinople, a force that preserved a civilization. The empire's survival and the very course of European history hinged on this secret fire. Its formula was guarded for centuries, a closely held secret of the state. Greek fire turned the tide of battle again and again, its reputation growing with every victory. Its flames protected a civilization, and its legend endures to this day. The Rus, Viking ancestors of Russians and Ukrainians, also faced Greek fire's wrath. In 941 AD, Prince Igor of Kiev led a massive fleet against Constantinople, expecting an easy victory. The Byzantines, with only a handful of old ships, met them with Greek fire. The Rus laughed, until the jets of flame engulfed their longboats. Panic and chaos followed. Sailors jumped into the sea, only to find the water itself was burning. Most drowned or burned. Igor escaped with a handful of ships. The defeat was total, and the legend of Greek fire spread among the Rus as a cautionary tale. The weapon forced the Rus to negotiate, not invade. Greek fire was the great equalizer, protecting the empire from even the fiercest enemies. Its reputation alone kept would-be conquerors at bay. What was Greek fire made of? The secret died with the Byzantine Empire. We know it was a petroleum-based liquid, likely thickened with pine resin or bitumen to make it sticky. Sulfur probably gave it its noxious smoke, while quicklime may have caused it to ignite on contact with water. Saltpeter could have acted as an oxidizer, making it burn even without air. The ingredients were prepared separately, and combined only at the last moment, ensuring secrecy. Only the emperor and a trusted family of chemists knew the full recipe. The formula was never written down, and when the empire fell, the secret vanished. Historians and chemists still debate the exact composition. Greek fire remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Its power is legendary, but its recipe is lost to time. The enigma endures, fueling curiosity to this day. If Greek fire was so effective, why did it disappear? The weapon required a stable empire, skilled technicians, and specialized ships. As Byzantium declined, so did its ability to produce and deploy Greek fire. The Fourth Crusade's sack of Constantinople in 1204 shattered the empire and likely destroyed the workshops and knowledge needed to make the weapon. Even after the city was retaken, the empire was too weak to revive its superweapon. Meanwhile, gunpowder and cannons changed the face of warfare. By the time the Ottomans conquered Constantinople in 1453, Greek fire was only a memory. The empire that survived by fire was ultimately destroyed by a new kind of firepower. Greek fire's disappearance marked the end of an era, its flame flickered out with the fall of Byzantium. Greek fire's legacy is immense. It created a technological gap that preserved the Byzantine Empire and its culture for centuries. Its legend inspired fear, innovation, and even an arms race in chemistry. The idea of liquid fire never vanished, from medieval myths to modern flamethrowers and pop culture. The mystery of its formula still captivates historians and adventurers. Every new discovery brings hope of unlocking its secrets. Greek fire reminds us that ancient civilizations achieved feats we still struggle to understand. It's a story of innovation, secrecy, and survival. The search for Greek fire is a search for our own lost history, and its story proves that sometimes a single idea can change the world.